Hi folks, welcome to this week's GoBuff Sports Live Show. I'm Roch.
And I'm Baylan Wysuph. We have a busy show today, so let's get into it. Two-way superstar Travis Hunter will be one of the top draft picks next Thursday night, and many are saying that Cleveland will be the Heisman winner's landing spot. Hunter has been quoted saying he's never playing football again if he can't play wide receiver and cornerback in the NFL, and the Browns are definitely the organization to make Hunter's aspirations a reality. Cleveland will pair Hunter with Jerry Jeudy on offense and Denzel Ward on defense.
Despite long being viewed as the first or second pick of the upcoming NFL draft, Shedeur Sanders' stock has seen a major drop in the past few weeks, with some sources even projecting him to fall out of the top 10. With the number one pick looking to select fellow quarterback Cam Ward and free agency moves opening up more opportunities for other teams with the following picks, Sanders' long-awaited draft selection may come at a lower number than previously anticipated. Responding to a question regarding his feelings at falling out of the top 10 spots, he simply said, "I don't care what the route is. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. I just want the opportunity."
Looking at mock drafts from the most popular media outlets in the business, Colorado Heisman winner Travis Hunter is expected to go in the top 3 of the NFL draft this Thursday to either the Cleveland Browns or the New York Giants. Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, is a little bit more all over the board, expected to go either number 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 9 to the New Orleans Saints, or number 6 to the Las Vegas Raiders. But we say screw all that. My name is Oliver Hayes alongside Leo Rivera, and we are discussing where we want these two to end up, to where we think, based on where we think they'll thrive, based on vibes, and our personal opinions on the organization. So, Leo, you can start us off. Where do you think these two will end up, or where do you want them to end up?
Yeah, let's start off with the two-way star, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter. I want him to end up on the New York Giants. Big Apple, a lot of light, a lot of attention there in the city. I think he's going to thrive. I think the media and the attention fits his personality. And not only that, they're going to allow him to play both ways. As we both know, that's what he wants to do the most. And they need it. They need a lot of help there in New York City. Get him out there. I think that's going to be a great fit for him.
You know, I think that could be a potential solid fit. But as we've seen how New York has handled recent stars as of late, and similar to Cleveland, I don't think that Travis will have the best fit to thrive, even if he is allowed to play both sides of the ball. I think New England will be the best place for him to thrive and play, show what he can do on both sides of the ball, and also be used in such a funky, unique, high IQ way that New England likes to do. I know Bill Belichick isn't around, but Mike Vrabel is coming in, and he played linebacker under Bill Belichick during his playing days, and he knows how Belichick likes to run it. And I think he'll do a similar thing and bring in a similar style to New England in his first year around. I think Gerard Mayo, he could have had, he should have stuck around, but we'll see how Vrabel ends up. But either way, I think he'll be a solid. Him and New England will be a solid fit for Travis. But Shedeur Sanders, he's a little bit of the more controversial of the two based on his opinions, his attitude, the way he handles himself, some of his play style, things like that. Also, people have their opinions on Dion. But what do you think? Where do you want him to end up?
You know what? In my opinion, Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in college football. Johnny Unitas strong arm winner. I see him going to the Cleveland Browns as the best fit, and here's why. Although they've been a dumpster fire, although they've had their history of neglect towards the quarterback position, these two need each other. I think Cleveland comes in, they need a quarterback desperately. They need someone to right the ship, and they finally need that franchise star that they've been looking for 3 decades now. Shedeur Sanders is that person. He's going to come in and he's going to fit the mold. He's the leader. He's the character that they lack in that locker room, and he's going to be the focal point of their offense moving forward.
Well, you said two things that kind of interested me. One, you said that Shedeur was the best quarterback in college football last year, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. There's definitely the argument. But as we've seen based on Cam Ward's live streams, he's expected to go to Tennessee, and Tennessee thinks that he's the best quarterback in the draft. And based on what other NFL GMs have said, based on the word, of course, we can't always believe the reports, especially if you're Deion Sanders. He tells us not to believe everything we see. But looking at that, Shedeur Sanders doesn't have the highest reputation, so I'm not sure if Cleveland will take a chance on him that high, but also looking at how they've handled quarterbacks in the past, even though they need a quarterback. Most recently, Deshaun Watson, he was kind of mishandled, but that could be a case on his own. But Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, some of those higher quarterback picks in past years, they have not panned out for the Browns. Obviously, you've seen Baker succeed on other teams, and that's where I think Shedeur needs to go, to another team, to the New Orleans Saints, a little bit later in that top 10. Still a higher pick, not to number 21 to the Steelers, but to a passionate fan base who needs a quarterback as well. And I think New Orleans, their passionate fan base, will be the best place for him. And I think for a guy who just got his number retired at a school who wore black and gold, he needs to go to a place that reps the black and gold and get his number retired there.
Yeah, a lot of makes sense there. A lot of fits, a lot of correlation towards New Orleans as of late. It's heating up. One thing that concerns me, though, is there a little bit of history of cap management and, getting the right stars in the building at the right time. We kind of see them at a little bit of aging towards the defensive sides. We've seen so many of those staple Saints players over the last 5-8 years leave, no longer on the team. A lot of turmoil, a lot of inconsistencies, and especially with the questions about Derek Carr and how that situation has been handled. I'm a little hesitant on seeing Shedeur head over there to the Saints, but like you said, there are those same questions in Cleveland as well. We're just gonna have to see where these stars end up.
Yeah, obviously there's a reason these teams are in the top 10 for struggling this year and in years past, but looking at this Thursday night, it will definitely be a surprise to see, not necessarily where Travis Hunter ends up. Obviously, he's expected to go in the top 3, top 4, but Shedeur Sanders, where he ends up, some think that he may even fall in the first round. I think that's absolutely blasphemous.
Ridiculous.
But, this is our first segment of this little debate type show, and we would love to get your feedback on what we should name this because we'd love to keep this around, whether or not it's with me, myself, Oliver Hayes, or Leo Rivera. We'll probably switch it up, but let us know what you guys would like this one to be called, as we would love to keep this around, and we'll send this back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. The 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay will begin on Thursday with coverage of the first round beginning on ESPN at 6 p.m. local time. The next day, you can catch our live show at 5 p.m. where we'll have the latest on the Buffs taken off the board and who's still available.
It's now time for this week's trivia question. We want to know who has been the highest-ranked basketball transfer recruit of the NIL era. We'll have your answer later in the show. The Buffs spring game will be taking place at Folsom Field on Saturday. The game will include a full contact scrimmage between the black and gold teams. Showcase drills will follow the scrimmage. This is the team's first public practice game of 2025, previewing their season ahead. This is also the Buffs' last affair at Folsom Field with grass, as the venue plans to move to turf over the summer. Kickoff is scheduled for 2:30 p.m.
Not only do the Buffs have one number retiring tomorrow, they have two. That's right, Hunter and Sanders' numbers will officially be retired tomorrow at the spring game. From tomorrow on, the number 2 and 12 will not be worn by other players, but shown in Folsom Field as a reminder of their excellence. As we say goodbye to two great players, we also say goodbye to their numbers. We have Nick Evans and Xavier McNevitz with this week's Buff banner to discuss the affair.
Thank you, guys. As we saw right there, we just had the jersey retirement announced. That'll be in the spring game tomorrow. Kind of been a controversial thing right now in the college football world and in the CU world. Usually that doesn't overlap. But we are talking about Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, whether or not they should have their jersey number retired. This has been an issue that I will hand off first to you, Xavier.
Well, I don't really think the debate's about Travis Hunter. It's obviously more about Shedeur. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't Heisman winner. That alone is automatic. Like, we can talk about like the Blinicoff and all that. Winning the Heisman is enough for any school. It takes some time, like Louisville, they didn't retire Lamar's 8 until like 5 years after. I don't think they've retired Tebow's 13 or 11 in Florida. But we'll start first with whether or not Shedeur, who's like the more controversial, at any point should he have his number retired. I'll start that with you.
So Shedeur, of course, he has all these school records and everything, but he comes from a school that really isn't a passing school, right? You got Coy Detmer, who's up there on the leaderboard. You have Joel Klatt, who's up there on the leaderboard. Cordell Stewart, who ran the triple option with Rashaan Salam.
Yes, he did.
So you come from a school that's not really a passing school. I mean, where's Dan Hawkins on that list? Or Cody Hawkins, which is Dan Hawkins' son. So I really think that I don't want to discredit Shedur's stats and what he did here in 2 years, but I don't think it's enough to have your jersey number retired at least the first semester after you leave the program.
Yeah, timing is an important thing. But before that, I personally think he is it doesn't matter the quarterbacks for me. I feel like any school's best quarterback ever should have their number retired. Shedur right now is 5th in composite stats across the board. That's Pro Football Reference. They add everything. He has the highest completion percentage. I think minimum like 10 games. He's broken 100 school records, including his own. He's had over 1,200 passing completions. He's 5th in 2 years of doing that. Everyone else, Cepho, Klatt, they did that in 4. I think he's galvanized this program. He's made it reach new heights. Prime is you can thank Prime for that, but he's not playing. He's not on the field. Travis and Shedur and everyone else is. I don't think we have the money that we're getting, the transfers we're getting, the attention that we're getting. Absolutely, none of that happens right now without Shedur. And I think that alone, I agree. At any point he should. The timing we'll get to in a second. But from where I stand, I think any school's best quarterback ever. It doesn't matter if it's a MAC school or an SEC school. They should always have their number retired.
I agree with that, but we want to talk about stats, and we talk about 13 and 12 in 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure Cordell Stewart. He won games for the Buffs. You figure Darian Hagan, he won games for the Buffs, right? So Joel Klatt won games for the Buffs. So you got to figure like sure, he broke all these records, but where does winning go in with that? And in terms of success with the program, you're a 9-win program. You lose a bowl game, and CU hasn't won a bowl game in 21 years, and he had the opportunity to do that, and it would have made it more credible if he wins that bowl game, but I still think that it's like maybe 15 years from now he gets his number retired, but not right away.
Yeah, and I agree with that to a point. I definitely think that it is kind of weird that he hasn't even entered the league yet. And we have that, and their timing is just so weird. Like, I didn't know Rashawn Salam's jersey retirement was posthumous. That's a Heisman winner, and it took that long. But I think that the fact that it happened this quick, you can say like, oh, because his last name is Sanders, that happened. But I think that's starting to be a turning point where maybe them doing it this eagerly means they get Hagan, they get Stewart, they get everyone else that needs to be in there right now that isn't Bieniemy. That this is what wakes them up, because I agree, like, it is stupid that there are so many greats before him that didn't. But I also think that's a fallacy, like, it's the whole, I don't remember the name of the fallacy, but you're taking by saying there's a problem somewhere else, you're taking away from the achievements of Shedur and Travis. Just by saying, oh, well, what about Bieniemy, Hagan? This isn't about them, this is about 2 greats of CU. I think there's other people before them that should have gotten in, but that's still taken away from them. And I think maybe this is a good sign. Like now next year they'll be doing this, and the year after that they'll be doing this. That alone should be a positive, because this school, before this incident, has had a really bad history with not retiring numbers that should be retired. Well,
it's also really hard to retire numbers in college football,
yes, it is.
Right? Because there's so many players that are in and out. So I'm not trying to cheapen Shedur and Travis's legacy to the program, but right. Maybe now a Cordell Stewart gets his jersey retired. Maybe now Michael Westbrook gets his jersey number retired. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but the timing is just a little off.
It is, but like we both have been kind of mentioning, this should be like a wake up moment from CU that. The other players before them that have, mind you, definitely 100%. Every single player we mentioned, it needs to be in there. And I think that's another thing that's weird is that we've had Byron White's number retired, I think, since 1934. I think that was around the time he graduated. So like all the way in the 1930s they did that, and then there was like an 80-year gap between retiring jerseys. They've had a couple people between there. Sal, you could argue if he should have his number retired. The timing is just a little strange, but I think we can both agree out of that hopefully this means they're a lot more open to retiring more numbers.
Yep, and I agree with that, yeah.
I think that's all we have. It's a hot button topic, so leave anything in the comments that you agree, disagree with me and Xavier. I forgot that our names are switched, so I'm Nick Evans, that's Xavier McNevitz, and we will see you guys back at the desk.
Last year's starting center Cash Cleveland has entered the transfer portal. The move comes as a shock as he is a Coach Prime favorite. He also leaves behind his former high school teammate Jordan Seaton. Cleveland got the start for the Buffaloes mid-season and ended the season with Pro Football Focus freshman All-American honors. Isaiah Gustav also entered the portal after leading the team in rushing yards last year.
Switching to the hardwood, the Colorado men's and women's basketball teams picked up their first transfers of the offseason. Men's head coach Tad Boyle snagged 4-star Barrington Hargis, who is rated the 14th best point guard in the portal. Hargis hails from UC Riverside, where he averaged over 20 points a game last season and earned all-league first-team selection. Also being a solid passer and showing great ball security, he looks to solve a lot of last season's issues despite only standing 6 feet tall. After Hargis' commitment, the men's team has 4 scholarships left to use, though they are looking to do so on similar caliber players. For the women's team, head coach J.R. Payne got the commitment of Gonzaga sophomore Claire O'Connor. The 6-foot guard averaged 7.5 points and 3.5 rebounds a night this past year and started 29 games for the Bulldogs. O'Connor's commitment leaves 5 scholarships for Payne and her program to play with.
As the NBA regular season comes to a close, 4 NBA buffs look to take the court in the 2025 playoffs. Miami Heat's Alex Burks, Orlando Magic's Tristan Da Silva, Dallas Mavericks' Spencer DeWitty, and Boston Celtics' Derek White are among those former buffs to compete to take possession of the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The NBA playoffs kick off the first round tomorrow.
Colorado women's lacrosse hosted their Big 12 opener last weekend as they welcomed number 4 Florida. It was a thrilling first half as the Buff once again started hot with 4 goals. Graduate attacker Kendall Haville recorded a hat trick in the first half alone. Though Florida began to respond with 4 goals in the second quarter, the Buffs went into halftime up by 1. Gators dominated the third quarter, outscoring the Buffs 7-3. The Black and Gold didn't answer in the final 15 minutes and went down 15-10, falling to 2-1 in Big 12 play.
Thursday afternoon, Colorado women's lacrosse fell short to the Denver Pioneers with a score of 9-8. The Buffs had a cold start as the Pioneers started off hot on a 3-0 run, but Tegan Ryan put 2 in the net to have the Buffs' confidence back in play. By the start of the second half, it looked very similar to the first as the Pioneers took quick goals which allowed frustration on the Black and Gold side. Turnovers for the Pioneers caught them in the fourth quarter, but with the last few minutes of the game, Buffs had an opportunity to up the game, but came up short due to the Pioneers' zone defense. Now the Buffs fall 6-7 in overall play.
The Black and Gold will continue Big 12 play this Sunday as they take on the Aggies of UC Davis. The Aggies hold a 5-8 regular season record, 1-2 in Big 12 play. Buff fans should look out for graduate attacker Alex Angu, who leads her team with 52 points. We know you'll probably be tired from the spring football game on Saturday, but come out to Prentup Field at 11 a.m. to support the Buffs on Senior Day.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Baylan, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Baylan, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Baylan, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is skull, Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The women's soccer team recently released their official schedule for the upcoming season, which includes 8 non-conference games, 11 Big 12 games, and a total of 8 opponents that played in the NCAA tournament last season. The Buffs will begin their season at home against Michigan State. The team's first Big 12 game will be against Kansas State, and 3 weeks later, Colorado will have the opportunity to avenge their 6-1 defeat against TCU. The Buffs will end their season on the road against Kansas 4 days before the start of the NCAA tournament.
The men's golf squad claimed their 7th top 2 finish of the year at the Thunderbird Collegiate. Ty Holdbrook led the Buffaloes in Arizona, shooting 7 strokes under par. All 5 golfers in the Buffs quintet scored under par at the tournament. The Buffs also sent 4 golfers to compete as individuals to get extra reps before the big tourney. Colorado will compete in the Big 12 Championship in Tulsa, Oklahoma, starting on April 22nd.
The women's golf team placed last out of 14 teams at the Big 12 Championship in Hokley, Texas. The Buffs shot 58 strokes over par, their second worst team score of the season. Maria Edhagen Harowich placed the highest among the Buffaloes at 25th. She shot 10 strokes over par. Kansas State's Sophia Burt was the only individual golfer to finish the tournament under par. Read more about the team's struggles on our website.
The tennis season has come to an end. The Big 12 Championship has been happening since Wednesday. Colorado achieved the upset in round 1 versus Iowa State, but couldn't advance past the second round. In the second round match versus the Sun Devils, the Buffs couldn't get anything going for them, with Mila Stanojevic getting the only win for the team. The tennis team will be back in action next fall.
The track and field team will be spread across California this weekend. The distance squad is running in the Brian Clay Invitational at Azusa, California all day. The sprint and field teams is in Walnut, California this weekend, competing at Mount Sac Relays. Anyone not traveling was supposed to compete in the pre-conference meet at the Colorado School of Mines. That meet has been canceled due to the weather tomorrow.
The club baseball team was supposed to be hosting the Colorado School of Mines this weekend for a 3-game series. Unfortunately, due to the weather, the series has been postponed to be played at a later date. This is an important series for the Buffs if they want to keep their hopes of winning the Mid-American West Division alive. First pitch, whenever it happens, will be right here on the ScoBuff Sports YouTube channel.
Good afternoon. My name is Colby Wyatt, and I'm here with this weekend's weather report. Now, first off, tonight's baseball game was supposed to start at 8:30, but unfortunately, because of the snow, that was canceled. An unfortunate loss there, but we are still looking forward to this weekend's spring football game on Saturday. Now, at kickoff, it's going to be about 42 degrees, and it'll maybe warm up during it with a chance of snow. So we'll see how that goes. But moving on to Sunday, we do have a lacrosse game. Lacrosse is set to face off against UC Davis, and when they start, it's going to be about 45 degrees, but it's supposed to get warmer throughout the game, and it's even going to be sunny. So that could be a good game to attend. And that's all the weather I have for you today. Back to the desk.
This week, every practice has felt different. Every rep, every drill, every film session, it's all building towards one thing, the Rocky Mountain Showdown in Fort Collins this Saturday. I asked the team what it means to compete in such a big rivalry match ahead of the game this Saturday.
It's cliche, it's corny, but like for the showdown, like nothing else matters.
It doesn't really matter where you are on the field, you can feel it.
It's going to be intense all week. We're going to make this week a very intense week of practice because we know that when we play CSU, it's going to be extremely intense and it's going to be a gritty game.
The CU Boulders men's lacrosse team is gearing up for their annual showdown with Colorado State. And when you ask the players, it's clear. This game isn't just another mark on the calendar, it's personal.
I think about it almost every day. Summer, fall, it's 364 more days till the showdown. So, and that's real. Like that's 100%.
Everything's heightened. Emotions are heightened. Everything that is good in a game is, the highs are super high, the lows get super low.
And coming in, I mean, it's any, like, high schools have rivalry games, club teams have rivalry games, and nothing really compared to, like, the feeling of that CSU weekend.
I mean, I remember last year I was playing CSU. I came down with a cross-check to the arm, and it punctured my vein, and it started just spewing out, blood. So that game, you can always expect there to be something, whether it's, big hits or big checks or whatever it is. You're coming out with something on the body.
For the Buffs, the pressure of the Rocky Mountain Showdown isn't a burden. Instead, it's fuel.
This week's going to be no around. It's going to be a lot of, like I said, accountability. We're going to be on people's out dropping balls, not, doing the things correct, because when it comes to the little things with these games, that's what winning and losing comes down to.
I asked the players and coaches if there was anything they wanted to say about the game Saturday or the team up north, and it's safe to say nobody minced their words.
Them. I mean, I don't have any kind words for CSU except, I've got a couple friends that go there from home, and it's always me dogging on them.
The Buffs will play as hard as you'll ever see them in that game. Like our effort, I promise you, our effort will be relentless.
These are games that you'll remember the rest of your life, and whether how much emotions there are in it and whatever it is, you got to just take it all in and not let it overcome you, because you only get 4 chances at doing this or playing these guys. So embrace it all, take it all in, and don't lose.
I'm Ryan Asaro, ScoBuff Sports.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. Should I say top 5 lacrosse plays this week? We're going exclusively for lax this week here on SBS, but I know if you happen, we're getting right into it with our number 5 spot here. Have you ever seen a Gator hit a brick wall before? Now you have! And that brick wall goes by the name Elena O, going into number 4. Kendall Havel closing in on the net here. She takes a shot and completes the hat trick against the Gators. Number 3, a bunch of quick plays this week. Maddie Shoup going right to left, tries to take a shot, and she does and scores! What a beauty there. That is Florida. That was all the plays from Florida this week. We're going into DU, which just happened yesterday. That long pass out to Madeline Pisani. She switches hands and scores! And the Selly, she gets back up with her teammates. What a beauty. Going into our number 1 spot. This is taken by Avery Gardner on the turnover. She's going to charge way downfield. At the moment, she's passing midfield, looking for a transition opportunity. She's going to take this one herself. She keeps going, sets up a shot, takes it, and scores! That was absolutely beautiful. On yesterday's game against DU at Prensa Field, that game had to be moved to 3 p.m. in light of the inclement weather coming into Boulder. It is snowing right now as we record this, folks, mind you. But that's going to do it for our Plays of the Week this week here on SBS. Strictly lax plays. I'm Kieran Warger, and we'll get you back to the desk after this break.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
Hey Buff fans, you're here with Mia Driscoll for today's Rapid Fire. Got an exciting weekend of CU sports for you coming up with a little bonus weekend action, kicking off today with the track team competing in both the Mount Sac Relays and the Brian Clay Invitational in California. The long-awaited football spring game is tomorrow at 2:30 on Folsom Field. And if this still isn't enough CU sports for you, help the Buffs lacrosse team celebrate senior night against UC Davis at noon on Sunday at Prensa Field, or watch on ESPN+. Continuing through next week, the men's golf team will compete in the Big 12 Championship in Tulsa, Oklahoma, starting on Tuesday. Thanks for watching today's Rapid Fire. I'm Mia Driscoll. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Mia. Now returning back to our trivia question earlier in the show, we asked you all, who was the highest ranked basketball recruit in the NIL era? Drum roll, please. The answer is freshly landed Barrington Hagris. Tad Boyle's newest recruit is also the highest ranked transfer in the school's basketball history.
Our tweet of the week comes via Deion Sanders Jr. Coach Deion Sanders didn't take kindly to some under-the-table portal dealings from the Virginia Cavaliers, who allegedly offered safety Carter Stoutmeyer a wad of cash to transfer away from the Buffaloes.
Carter got off the bag. What Carter? What's the school? What's the school over you there? Virginia, where my camera? Virginia, you gotta stop. I let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it. Come on now. Come on. We let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it. It's another brother.
Stoutmeyer stayed put. Rumors swirled that the one that got away from Coach Prime is running back Isaiah Auguste, who entered the transfer portal this week.
Well, that wraps up this week's live show on this chilly Friday afternoon.
But if the snowflakes are making you cold, you can always try liking and subscribing. That always warms our hearts.
But that's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching, and don't forget,
you heard it here first.